Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty. And after spending quite a lot of time talking about absolute Batman yesterday, let's carry on with a totally different thing, Toxic Avenger. I'll say totally different. It does have some similar characters we're talking about. Like, this is an IP that's existed for quite some time, and I feel like how people approach that is going to differ depending on what you remember of it. Me personally, I mostly remember the kids' TV show, the cartoon, in fact. Don't get me wrong, I think I have watched the movie, I have recollections of it, but my recollections are so vague that I'm almost certainly going to say I was drunk when I watched the movie. This isn't me showing off like, oh, I was so drunk. I literally just probably had it on the background around a friend's house at some point when we were already 10 sheets. So I basically have very vague recollections of it. So I kind of nicely went in not really having an expectation. This isn't one of those things where I was like, oh man, I wonder what they're going to do with like giving a brand new origin story of this thing. I'm going to take it in a different direction. It's going to be playing within the wider Troma multiverse. It's just Toxic Avenger. And like you can tell right away from the cover, they're not playing out too much. That is exactly how I would have imagined him looking, mop, tutu and all. So I thought, right, okay, let's just go in with it. Let's just see what happens. It's Matt Bors, who's been doing some really cool satire stuff lately. I wasn't really expecting him to go full all cops are bastards in this one. But I was still like, yeah, okay, he's got a gut sense of humor. It's kind of, it can be dry, but it can also be like sometimes quite over the top and really on the nose. And I opened it up and it starts with a 4 days into the quarantine kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're going to get dropped into this in media res. I like that. I really dislike comic book stories where we are handed the plot, not even handed, fed the plot, much in the way of a parent making aeroplane noises with a spoonful of goo. I kind of prefer it when a writer, a creator is just like, yeah, okay, we're just going to start telling the story. We're going to trust that, A, we are good enough storytellers, these all going to come together and make sense, and B, our readers are clever enough to just go with it and trust that we are going in the right direction. I'm really glad I did, because it sets some nice things up. We get introduction to some characters. We should get to see the fantastic artwork. I need to check the name for this one. I have forgotten this, of Fred Harper, who does a really, really good job. It's a nice line he straddles here between the comically ridiculousness of Toxic Avenger and the Troma universe stuff in general. It is so ridiculous and over the top. One thing I do remember is like the very weird cartoony animation style and the practical effects, which at the time probably looked amazing, but right now I'm imagining would not have aged very well at all. But it does also have kind of like a weird body horror thing going on with it as well. And it feels a weird combination, horror, comedy, but body horror in particular. But it works, and he managed to straddle that line by having things look deeply unsettling. And I think this ties into just like how the Toxic Avenger is usually done, like the absolutely messed up face and the musculature and the hulking nature of him in the tutu. You kind of have to just run with that as a basic concept that they are going to be messing with you. They are going to be showing you horrific things, but expecting you to laugh along with them. And we also then get some non-horrifying characters, but still the way they're done feels like it's also doing that divide. We have like a clearly obsequious government agency spokesperson who has the most ridiculous oversized teeth ever, but they're not done so much so that she looks cartoonish. It's just kind of highlighting this one little odd facet about her, which makes her unusual, makes her weird, tied in with her mode of speech, which also is just hilarious for anyone who's ever listened to obsequious government spokespeople. It's brilliant. But then the comic book carries on, and the next chapter heading we get is 3 days into the quarantine, and my brain suddenly clicks. It's like, oh, cool. So we're not just getting dropped in with expectation we have to figure it all out. We are going to be told it, but doing this non-linear storytelling actually means, again, we've been trusted to follow along with, to take cues and follow what the path is going for, but then knowing that it will make sense. Like, our trust is going to be paid off. And then when you get to the final one, like the first day, the quarantine, day 1 or day 0, you realise what you've been getting is an origin story. And I kind of like that, because for issue 1s with a character like this, it's not unusual for it to be an origin story, but it's also not unusual for me to be frustrated with that one, especially if it's a character everyone knows about. And as I've already said, I remember Toxic Avenger. I do know what the origin story kind of is, but it was nice to have it done this way, so I didn't know that's what I was getting. It's a really nice, not like old switcheroo kind of thing, but at least does what it does in a way which is interesting, and it uses the non-linear storytelling to actually do something interesting, not just for the sake of it, not just to have it as a weird little quirk that he's using, like some people do a story within a story kind of thing. This is actually done with the intent of you didn't know what you were getting, but what you're getting is exactly what you should have expected, and I really did like that. And it is also just funny, it's well written, Some of the jokes are very much on the nose, but some of them are kind of subtle and just made me chuckle like about 10 minutes after them because I was still thinking about it. So honestly, I was impressed and I'm really looking forward to the rest of it. That's it for now though. I will have more things to review later. Make sure you do the social media thing. Hopefully the rest of them will be closer to the 5 minute mark. Until I see you all again, look after each other everyone. Stay safe. Bye!